think writing is a tool that, if learned as a young age, makes you more capable of creating reality as you grow older?
Oh, absolutely. I'm pretty sure had I learned some of those tools when I was younger, that I would have used them a lot earlier in life rather than later, such as writing a book, which was
In this book right here, really, it pushes that message, but it pushes it in a way where it's not direct, that the reader, the young child, can get interested in writing and understand like freedom of their own thought. That's one of the biggest messages that I've read in the book.
Yes. Well, it's the human period is just amazing. The very fact that the way we're built and the things that we're able to do with our bodies and our hands, that makes a huge difference. The very fact that the writing was created, that made it to where the things that we think about, we can actually see them before we actually make them. And then there's just so many things that have been created from writing, such as submarines, rockets, planes, cars. To me, once you learn how to use those tools, you could literally create for yourself a career that will pay your way in life. You have to do something. You have to have some sort of skill. The best, I guess, lifestyle is one where you're doing what it is that makes you feel good. It's not just applying for a job or something like that. And so I consider these tools to be like the equalizer, because you can teach yourself. Way back before there were schools, there were individuals that were out there looking out into the sky and trying to make sense of what they were looking at. There were people that were looking at birds and trying to figure out how they fly. And so these people that are looking at all these different things, they were writing it down. And those were like the first pamphlets or later on books. And then after that, it becomes a deal of someone saying, something, I want you to teach my kid what you have written in that book. Yeah. And then the next thing you know, then there becomes this a conversation going on that, hey, there's this guy, he's doing he's looking up at the sky and he's seeing the stars. They're actually, it seems like they're moving, and then there's the moon, and there's a dark side to it. It comes up sometimes and it goes away other times. I mean, whatever it is, because at the very beginning it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
But the very idea that somebody started making sense out of all these things, then there becomes this deal of, we could probably learn something from this. We could probably make life better.
We've always been so curious. And it's interesting with that, as humans, we have this natural inclination to write things down. We're curious about them, to learn about them. It's like writing has always been the way to learn.
Yes. It's a way, it's kind of like steps.
Yeah.
You write one thing down and then you find out later on that it's not exactly complete, but it's a start. And then you move to the next spot where you've figured something else out about it. Really, the whole point of my writing this book really was, I wanted to find out, and this is a tough one because I'm being interviewed, and I've never been interviewed like this before, but I wanted to see if I knew what I was talking about.
Right.
And I knew if I wrote it down, when I read it back to myself, that it was either going to make sense or it wasn't. And when I first started writing, I was so happy with that first draft that I thought I was done. It's in this celebration mode. And then I go back and I read it again. It's just like, wow, there's holes in this. And so the point of it is that, bringing this up, is that it actually helped me see how I was looking at things. And it made it to where things started making more sense. I started making more sense. Writing makes anything make sense. It's just weird, but see, it's like if you can draw it, and then it makes sense. If you can draw something that you're imagining, if you can draw it, then it makes sense. When it's up here, all it is just up here.
And it's so important to get those thoughts in your head out on a paper.
Very hard, but
very, very important too.
Yes, writing changed the world. Writing consists of so many things. There's the musical notes, there's the alphabet that created the dictionary. There's only 10 numbers, it's 0 through 9, that makes all the other numbers. And then there's the punctuation marks and the mathematical symbols and all these little simple things that
Create everything.
Huh?
Like all these little simple tools that just can be used to create everything.
everything.
There's only a limited number of tools that create absolutely everything in the world, and having access to these tools is a limited potential. And the younger you are to get access to these tools, access you have to getting where you want to go in life. You know,
Actually, you can move much quicker
much
and
quicker, faster, and precisely. Yeah.
just like that person.
We know this, but there's a lot of people out there that, think probably writing and reading isn't fun. A lot of kids. A lot of kids think they go to school and like, writing and reading, that's so boring, it's homework. But that's not a mindset that's productive. And that's why I got so passionate behind this book, is because it's such a fun way to teach the young minds that, writing, free thinking, and reading can be fun, it's exciting, it's explorative. And
They have their best chance when they're young.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that somebody that's 5 or 6 or something like that, but I just mean anybody that's still young and they're still asking questions. Because see, what I learned is that my questions are my guide. They're almost like you have a treasure map and there's clues on there and you got to get to these different spots in order to find the buried treasure. And so your questions are what guides you in life. That's like your map. Include writing in that. It makes it a little bit clearer about what it is that you're thinking about and where you're trying to go. Writing is just amazing. I mean,
have you always loved writing and reading your entire life?
oh gosh, I love reading, but I never knew what to write about a lot of times. Many times, if there was a saying that I liked, I would write that down. But when it came to the book, oh gosh, man.
Yeah, this was brand new. What would you have thought of this book if you were to find this as a child, maybe like 10 years old or 12?